Now allow me to invite on stage His Excellency Abdulla bin Touq Al Marri, UAE Minister of Economy, to the stage for our opening remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very delighted to be here. Joe, congratulations on your first Middle East Economy Summit, and congratulations as well for launching the Economy Global. It's a great pleasure to support a local brand who's really focused. Joe is a person who really focuses on covering economy. One of the magazines I really oversee. And Joe brought us with AGM today with good friends. Andrew, Dr. Mahmoud Muhyiddin, Rola over there on Standard Chartered. I think this is a great opportunity where all of us comes together and really speak about economy going forward. And looking at my remarks this morning, I said, what things would I probably cover? And I said, and I was chatting with Dr. Mahmoud before coming on, and I asked him a question, and I said, in the last couple of decades, was economy such uncertainty faced by any economist globally? He said, no, never. In the past, economy used to be seen or forecasted every 6 months. Today, we have to forecast the economy every 3 months. And year to year, we estimate something, but the year of achievements or growth is different than reality and than actual. So when we said that, I think there's a lot of challenges to really keep in mind, and how the UAE leadership in this economy moved forward to really push where we are today. And I'll talk about a couple of the challenges in global, and maybe Dr. Mahmoud, when he comes on stage, will as well highlight more of that in more detail. But major challenges that we saw in the last 2 years, not 4 years, we start 4 years as we start with COVID. And that's when I became a Minister of Economy, was back in July 2020, in the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of challenges. And I think the opportunity is to look beyond that. So I went to the deep end of economy uncertainty back in July 2020 when airlines were not taking off, when airports are ghost towns, when hotels became hospitals, and that's a regime that we saw. But we came out of that as UAE's economy, moving forward with really high growth. 2021 was a great year for us. We grew at about 5 to 6%. We did a very astonishing year in 2022. We did 7.9% growth, and 7.2% of that was non-oil. We went into 2023 with all the challenges of global, but we did 5.9% in non-oil GDP, which took us today on a record high of 73% non-oil GDP for our economy. Never happened in the history of the UAE. Moving beyond oil and rather having a sustainable economy moving forward. Now the global challenges are still there. We're going to still stay, there's a lot of media around, and they always ask me the question of, what do you estimate the economy of the UAE will be in 2024 and 2025? And I always go back to IMF or the World Bank, and I say, well, they presume it's going to be 4.2%. Well, what I want is 7%. Well, that's what I want, and I think that's an opportunity where is how do we speak to the industry, how to speak to the economists, to the financial institutions, and say how can we deliver 7% rather than what estimated as a 4.2%. Now the global economy has tested a lot of our factors and tested a lot of our resilience. Challenges are from everywhere. And I think the important aspect is, one is the highest inflation. Beginning of year, we've seen that there was an announcement of 3 reductions of interest rates. I think with Dr. Mahmoud, half an hour earlier, I was saying beginning of year, there might not be 3, there might be 1, or maybe there's a bump of inflation, of interest rate. But I think the economists nowadays as well has a betting approach as well to say which interest rate, when we're going to see the interest rate is going down. But let me say this, I think the most important aspect is we are in a normal economy at the moment. The last 3 decades of our economy, of low inflation, low interest rate, it's not normal. And I think where we are at the moment, as 5%, 3 to 4 to 5%, is a normal economy of interest rate. And we need to get used to that. That's not going to go back. And we shouldn't think about designing an economy where interest rate is, as some parts of the world back in 2 decades ago, was in minus. Keeping money in the bank actually make you lose money. And I think that's the importance as well of thinking that this is normality going to this kind of percentage of economy. And I think one aspect as well, we're looking at global geopolitics and maybe geoeconomics, the aspects of the trade between the US and China, the geopolitics that's happening in the Red Sea, the challenges that's happening in Israel and Gaza, and more between Russia and Ukraine. This is a whole factors that's really putting us in a way where we are testing our resilience, testing our trade resilience, testing our economy as well, and we make the economy more and more resilient for future challenges. And I think with harnessing this, our leadership really put wisdom as well, and with connectivity with stakeholders. You know, the amount of time we spent with the business, with the private sector, being with you guys, and really speaking the language, really put us in policy, making sure that we align what we're doing, we're making sure we align with our visions, and make sure we connect with business people to make sure that as well we have a drive to our economy going forward. So let's speak about a little bit about our diversification policies. And I think the most important, what we did in the UAE, and we want to diversify. So that we want to reach more than 73%. UAE's economy should be more diversified. We should go more than 75, maybe 80%. I see Hatem here from EAND, Ittisalat. You know, I'm so proud of Ittisalat. You know, there's a lot of, cost application from Ittisalat on businesses, but Ittisalat is moving away from telecom. One most important aspect is when we designed our green growth strategy for the UAE, that's one of the policies that we're focusing on. The green growth strategy that's under study and research in the Ministry of Economy at the moment has focused on 4 major pillars. One, we're focusing on critical minerals, the most important aspect, the 4 major important aspects of designing critical minerals: nickel, cobalt, lithium, and copper. These are critical minerals that the world is trying to look for, process them. They are going to be part of creating batteries, creating solar energy, solar powers, and so forth. The other part is how do you create green industrial parks, an area where we bring these products, process them, and make them actually as well a green product. And the other one is how do we export our know-how in carbon accounting. And when I looked around, Ittisalat is doing carbon accounting for companies. They're not just providing telecom, but they can actually have an IoT to help companies going forward and export that. So the UAE has a strong background, strong foundations pushing that forward, and I think this is something which we need to keep in mind. And I think the aspects of these policies when we come to green growth and we're focusing on is going forward. The 4th aspect in our strategy is green IP, intellectual properties in the green aspect. So with the green growth strategy, we'll look at the demand side, and I think the aspects of how do we, the supply side, and how do we actually create that in ways that we push our businesses forward. There will be a lot of opportunities in the green growth agenda. We hosted COP28. Why not? We have a green growth forward thinking about this aspect. I think the other things as well to look at, I'm taking so much of my time as well here on stage. I want Dr. Mahmoud to be on stage and to really speak about his thoughts as well. But one most important aspect is tourism. I think tourism, going back 4 years ago, was in the shadows of COVID. People thought tourism was not going to come back. People will start using VR and augmented reality and visit the world through that. But what we saw something back 2 years ago called the revenge tourism, where we saw a lot of people going out and really spending time and enjoying it. Now tourism is about 11 to 12% of our UAE GDP. And the UAE have really invested heavily in the infrastructure of tourism. We had a record high of our summer hotel occupancy last year. Never happened. I think because Europe is getting warmer. The UAE and Europe now in the summer is quite the same in heat. And there's a lot of people really spend a lot of time. And I think this is something we will grow, we'll look at, and this is a huge resilience, remarkable resilience that we see in our tourism aspect. And I think today, tourism as well employs about 809,000 workers. They support directly about 12.3% of the total workforce in 2023, and 83% of the total tourist spending in the UAE goes for leisure and entertainment, while remaining 17% for business tourism. So there's about 1,235 hotels operating about 210,000 keys in the UAE, and established in the UAE welcomed around 28 million guests in comparison to 2022, which was about 11% increase. The hotel revenues in the UAE alone was 43 billion dirhams just last year, and about 97 million guests nights, which is a 7% increase from 2022. We're beyond 2019 numbers. And I think this is something as well to see the UAE's economy on tourism going forward. Now, we mentioned the green growth, diversification, we mentioned tourism. I think we shouldn't as well forget to mention the new economic sectors. And the new economic sectors is really fostering the innovation and embracing technology, emerging technologies, and how the UAE is doing it. I was reading an article the other day how the UAE and US is actually the capital for AI globally. UAE today, with all the regulations, with all the standards, with all the thinking, have attracted a lot of the artificial intelligence specialists, researchers, technologies. We're invested in it. We have huge investment in it, and actually created a couple of our own AI programs moving forward. And I think this is something we should be proud of and move forward. So we are in the business of education tech, health tech, whatever tech comes in, UAE's economy needs to diversify that. And I think in Hub 71, one of the great opportunities as well, supporting these small and medium enterprises in the technology aspect. And I think going forward, I think I'm on conclusion at the moment. We shouldn't forget as well what we're doing on manufacturing and Operation 300 billion and Abu Dhabi industry strategy. That is really heavily looking on advanced manufacturing. We're looking at how do we bring that technology as well, and the investment in creating advanced manufacturing as a part of our environment, fostering it and moving it forward. So in conclusion, I'm really confident that this discussion today, go back to Joe, that will deliberate the summit of really a great thinking, a way forward to really set the tone, and I think this is a great aspect for fostering partnerships and charting a course towards a brighter tomorrow.